Are you pre-trib, post-trib, pre-wrath, pan-trib, or maybe you're like, I don't have a clue what these people are talking about. You know, whenever you bring up the subject of when is the rapture going to take place, that makes people get serious very, very fast. And so then always comes the question, well, which one are you? Are you pre-trib or are you post-trib? It's like Revelation and all other scriptures pertaining to eschatology, and that's end times, is like a multiple choice question on a website. If you click the right answer, then heaven is going to email you a confirmation code. You know, pre-tribulation belief says that believers are going to be taken up to Jesus before the 7-year tribulation hits, kind of like in the movie Left Behind. God removes his people before things get really ugly. And he does so in a secret way, and there ends up being just a pile of clothes where you were because you somehow instantly got a white robe and then just vanished. The emphasis there is on rescue, imminence, and God sparing his people from wrath. The unofficial slogan, and I've heard it more times than I can shake a stick, is, we're out of here. Mm-hmm. And then post-tribulation, that's where believers say that they'll remain through the tribulation period, or at least a portion of it, and then they're gathered to Christ after that. That's kind of like the endurance mode. The emphasis is on God protecting his people in the midst of chaos rather than removing them from it. And the unofficial slogan, if there was one there, would be something like, hey, hold my coffee. I'll show you how to go through this. Here's the deal. Both sides read the same Bible. Both love Jesus. Both can quote all manner of verses rapidly with confidence that you can make say into what you want to believe. And most of the time it's because their favorite teacher said something. And both sides are convinced that the other side is missing something obvious. And part of the tension comes from how we read the book of Revelation. Jesus is very clear when he revealed all of that to John that there will be trouble. He's also clear that he will be with his people. Scripture shows God sometimes removing his people from danger, but then sometimes preserving them through danger. Noah was protected in the flood. Israel lived through the plagues. Daniel was protected inside of the lion's den. I can give hundreds of examples, but what people are really wanting to know is kind of like this. How uncomfortable is it going to be? Will I get killed? And once again, I have to ask an as if question. As if you think for 1 second that at some point in this life you won't die, when the Bible clearly says it's appointed unto man once to die and then the judgment. Dying is the only way to get out of this thing and on to the next life anyway. Pre-trib folks, they want to talk about God's mercy and rescue. But don't forget that mercy takes on many different forms. And then the post-trib folks, they say, oh, endurance and faithfulness. But never forget that the ability to endure is a gift from God. Both of these are biblical things. Neither camp is heretical. And Jesus never promised, don't worry, I'll make sure that you're gone before anything hard happens. But he did promise, I'll be with you till the end of this age. There's thousands of charts online right here on my on my YouTube, I've got a chart that I drew up. But you know what? Jesus is not interested in charts. He never tells us to fear or worry. Here's what he does say: stay awake, stay faithful, don't panic, don't fear, and do not assume that comfort equals blessing. And do not assume that suffering means that you somehow missed out. He said, blessed are those who endure. So whether someone's pre-trib, post-trib, pan-trib, whatever, are still squinting at the book of Revelation like, why are there so many trumpets? And what are all these candlesticks? And I don't understand the stars falling from heaven and so on and so forth. And I just don't understand. Hello? Hello? Me over here. The goal was never to win a debate. It never has been. It never will be. The goal is to follow Jesus when things are calm and when things are not. Because whenever the trumpet sounds, the people who belong to him, they'll recognize the voice. The goal is to be ready. And the rest of the timeline, don't worry. It turns out that God's got that all under control.